So now we're going to work on the eyes, which is the favorite part, but also for mature skin, it's the part that's the most scariest because they're just like, I don't know what to do at this point. So we're gonna start with our warm palette of eyeshadows. So a warm palette of shadows that we have at Color Me Perfect, and we have matte, satin, and some shimmer shadows. Okay, so we first want to start with lifting this brow bone. So I'm going to use a shade called Mother of Pearl, and I'm going to go ahead and apply powder right up on her brow bone. Now, Liz has come to me with some permanent makeup that I've done, so we already kind of know her brows are where we want them, so that takes a step out. So for those of you that are considering permanent makeup, I would definitely do it because it's less work for you in the morning. Okay, now notice I'm putting it on her orbital bone here right below the brow, and then I'm dusting it right along that cheekbone. Okay, so now that I have that, I want to look at the shape of her face and look at the shape of her eyes. So she basically has a little bit of overhang here when the lid starts to lose elasticity. So what we want to do is contour that out. In order to contour, we don't need a super dark color. We need a medium color, and it needs to not have glitter in it. Any type of shimmer, because the shimmer is going to reflect and make it come forward, and then that enhances the loss of elasticity and that sagging in the skin. So we don't want that. So be very careful when you're selecting your shadows. You want to be mindful. And that's why we like to sell a lot of times at Color Me Perfect individual shadows, so we can really pick out the one that's going to be the best for our client. Because not, sometimes when you buy those palettes and they have like say 20 different shadows in them, maybe really only 5 look good on you. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna use a color called Clove. This is one of my favorites. And then I'm gonna mix it with a little toffee. Okay, so now when you go to do your shadow, okay, what I want you to do is pull up. Okay, keep your eye open for me. And you're going to go behind. Just like that. And I'm blending down on the lid. Okay. Okay, open. And the reason I'm having you do that and pull up is because then when you open, you can see where you're putting it. Sometimes when you close, you kind of get lost, but you want to pull up and then apply, because when you let go, it's going to come down a little bit. So we're going to do the same thing for the other side. We're going to pull up, and then we're going to go blend in the contour of the eye, and then we're going to blend down on the lid. Okay. Now, another little trick I like to do is I like to make sure the corners have plenty of shadow, just because I like that lifted look. So we want to make sure there's plenty of contouring right on that outer bone there. Let's turn you on this side. There we go. Okay, pretty neat. All right, so now that we have that, I don't make the eyes super complicated because most people won't do it. I'm gonna take a eyeliner called Sienna. And also I'm gonna take a shadow brush, and I wanna brush in case any shadow fell. Another trick that you can do as well, if shadow tends to fall when you're working, is you can take a setting powder and you can dust it under the eyes. So when you go to take your powder brush and dust off, you don't have to worry about any of the shadow kind of sticking. There we go. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and apply sienna right in her lash line. So the key with your eyeliners is you wanna wiggle back and forth. Okay, and we're gonna do the same thing here. Now, she also has some permanent eyeliner, and what I'm doing is I'm kind of following that, but also warming the color a little bit. Okay, now I want you to look up for me. I'm gonna take the pencil, okay, and I'm gonna go right where your lashes are. Okay, same thing. This is probably the most uncomfortable part. Close for me. But so worth it. Okay, perfect. And then what you can do is if you have any little smears, you can go back with your just concealer and clean it up. Okay. Now, and then when you go back with your concealer, you want to take a tiny bit of shadow and then just clean that up. Okay. Get close for me. And then I'm also going back, making sure this is contoured out exactly how I want. Those detail brushes, like everybody needs to own them because like they're nice when you want to refresh something. But you always, once you detail something out, you always want to take your bigger brush and blend. You never want to leave that line. Okay. And I want to, because I did the other side with the detail, I'm going to go ahead and equal it out. There we go. Okay, take my bigger brush and blend out. Perfect. Okay. So now what I'm also going to do is I'm going to take Adorn. Adorn is one of my favorite eyeliners, and I'm going to start to apply that under. Always make sure you have a really good sharpener. And the sharpeners are important because you want to keep your pencils in good condition. All right, so now I've got my pencil sharp. Okay, look up for me. I'm gonna apply underneath. Just now notice I'm using, Adorn is a lighter color than I used on the top. So a way to make your eyes look bigger is you wear a darker liner on the top lid and a lighter liner on the lower lid. And that's gonna help your eye open up. Look up for me. Okay, look up again. And then you can use your concealer brush. There's any little area you want to clean up. Now, one of the questions I get, how do I prevent it from moving, right? Eyes, liner moving. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your concealer brush and you're going to pack some of that setting powder on. And we're going to apply it right under where you applied the liner. Because what that does is it prevents it from shifting. And powder kind of stops it. But we don't want it too powdery, right? Because then the under eyes, like those fine lines, are enhanced. So we want very little, but just enough. And to finish up the eyes, I'm going to apply just a little bit of lighter color called Uninhibited. Close for me. Right on her eyelid, just to bring some pop. I'm doing it right in the center. Okay, open. because it's a fun, Uninhibited is one of my favorite. It's like a peachy shade right on that eyeball center. Okay, and then last but not least, I'm gonna check with the mother of pearl, my brow bone color, and I like to put that right in the tear duct. Now notice, her eyelid has puffiness right here, so you don't want a light color where it's puffy. You want the light color where you want to brighten it, but not enhance any puffiness at all. So be mindful of that. And then now what we're gonna do is we're gonna re-enhance the brows a little bit, even though she already has permanent makeup. We just wanna go through and enhance them just a tiny bit. So we're gonna use, let's see, I think we're gonna do, yeah, we're gonna use Sable. That's one of our brows. And I'm just gonna go ahead and, now notice I'm not drawing and filling in, I'm just literally sketching on some hairs, just to give it a little bit more definition, not a whole lot, because you don't want the brows over defined, because then it looks overly cosmetic. It looks fake. Okay. We're just giving it a little bit more definition. Can it turn for me? There we go. And I really recommend you see an esthetician, so someone is trimming and tinting, because that is important as you get older. Because it's hard for you to do it, and it's just like those hairs start getting wiry and they get out of control. So you definitely want someone doing that for you. And I don't want to fixate too much on the lower part of the brow, always like usually on the upper part of the brow. And those fronts, you want to keep it brushy, not like a drawing. So use your little spoolie on the back end of your brow pencil to blend it in.